What is up, everybody? Today I'm bringing you guys a little guide telling you how to get every single one of the unlockable Digimon and all of their Digivolution trees in Digimon Time Stranger that's coming out on October 3rd. If you guys remember, there is a demo out right now that you guys can play for free. You can transfer your save data from that demo into the main game once it comes out on October 3rd. So it's actually really important if you want to get a good head start to unlock as many of these Digimon as you can. So what we're going to be going over today is a Reddit thread that I found going over every single step you need to take to unlock as many of these Digimon as possible. Some of them are a little bit more complicated, but the general idea behind it is pretty simple once you get a good understanding of the Time Stranger mechanics. So let's hop right into it. There are a few things you need to understand about Time Stranger as a game when you compare it to something like Pokemon to get a good understanding of how this works. So the main way that you actually get Digimon in this game, right, is by converting them. And that's going to look something like this. So if you go to this convert section, once you've defeated a certain number of Digimon and you have a scan rate of over 100 of them, so after you've defeated like, 10 of these or like 5 of these, you can actually convert them to just create one. You get a brand new one of these Digimon. It gets added to your party and stuff like that, added to your little box right here. I've already converted a bunch of my Digimon here, and converting is how you create new Digimon. You get like the base form version of a lot of these. You can get the Toy Agumon or the Gotsumon and stuff like that. The next thing you have to understand is to unlock a lot of these Digimon, what you're actually going to need to do is to de-digivolve a lot of these Pokemon. You can actually see a lot of these Digimon. I have a decent amount of the Mons in the game, but there's nowhere near the amount that are on this chart here. And that's because you need to actually be de-digivolving. I think Modemon's a great example here. You can see Modemon can evolve into things like Tentomon or Gotsumon on the left-hand side of the middle of our chart. You can also go into like the Hawkmon lines, the Palmon lines and stuff like that. And the only way to really do that is to de-digivolve into something like the baby form of this. It says like there are multiple different requirements. The target Digimon has been encountered before, or their personality has to match the personality. And personality is something that can change over the course of doing battles and stuff like that. So we have to find out the base personalities for every single one of these like baby or in training Digimons, and then we need to be able to de-digivolve into them. So if we go into like, let's see, who can de-digivolve correctly? Let's see. Do we have any that can de-digivolve? So we can digivolve this Gotsumon into a Modemon if we wanted to. We could de-digivolve. Can we digivolve this into a Koromon if we wanted to, right? Because they have been encountered before. That's one of the requirements, right? So that's kind of cool. If we wanted to do that, we could de-digivolve this Sunamon into a Botamon if we wanted to. We could de-digivolve our Betamon into a Koromon. Let's just see what that looks like. So when you de-digivolve, you actually like lose a lot of your stats, but at the same time, this is how you unlock the ways to get into a bunch of other lines. And we're going to go over like what those lines are in just a sec. But if you guys like this sort of content, you want to see more Digimon Time Stranger content on this channel, please think about dropping a sub. I have a ton of really cool content planned for this game. I'm so excited for it to come out. I've been streaming my live throughs of it on Twitch TV/that'sa+1, and we'd love to have you along for the ride. So you can see now this gave us a Koromon. Our Betamon turned into a Koromon, and now we have the ability to go back and unlock even more things. We can go back into our Betamon if we want, if we were to get our max SP to 200 or greater, or we can go into like a Dracomon if we were to hit those specific requirements. So you may be wondering again, like, how do we get some of these other lines? We already talked about de-digivolving to hit specific, I also want to get ahead of myself. So you may be thinking like, okay, you de-digivolve, but then does that lock you out of going into the Modemon line? Like if you de-digivolve your Modemon and you want to go into like the Palmon line, does that lock you out of the Tentomon line? No, it does not. All you need to do is just grind against more Digimon that have Modemon as like their scannable, and then you just create another Modemon and you go for it again. So like you can actually drop like hundreds and hundreds of hours into this, completing this whole list right now, and I know there are tamers that are doing that. I'm not recommending you do that, but I'm saying like if you want to have a team of something like Veemon, Hawkmon, and Armadillomon, that's definitely possible. And let's actually run through what it would take to do that. So Veemon comes from the Sunamon line. So what you would have to do is get a Sunamon, and you can see Veemon is, I believe, right here is Veemon. So the requirements for Veemon are 280 attack or greater with 170 speed or greater. So what you need to do is probably get your Sunamon. Let's see, we are almost at the attack merit on our Sunamon, and our speed is at 168. We're almost there. So like, if we got Sunamon up one more level, we probably would be able to Digivolve it into Veemon. Let's see if we can actually do that. So we can go into load enhancements, and we can just take our Sunamon here, and we can just load him up with like a bunch of other, you know, little guys. Let's load him up with like these guys. It'll take him all the way to level 8. That'll probably work, right? Yeah, let's do, this will be level 7. That's probably going to be it. So synthesize. So it basically deletes the Impmon and the Dracomon, but it adds them to the Sunamon. And so you see our attack gets up to 277. We need to get to 280 for Veemon. So let's just do one more and do that. And we get to 289, and so we should be able to Digivolve our Sunamon into Veemon right now. So we can get actually any of these. So now Sunamon, basically we've gotten it strong enough to get to any of these. So we can get into the like little green Ogremon, the Sunamon, we can go Gabumon, we can go, oh, what is that little guy? The little guy that evolves into the big dragon guy, the gold dragon guy. We can also get like Elecmon and stuff like that too. And is that Zubamon at the end? That's actually like really cool. We were talking about Veemon though, so let's get Veemon right here. And Digivolve into Veemon. Digivolve into question mark, question mark, question mark. And you can see it's going to be Veemon here in just a minute. I'll show this wonderful little evolution screen so you guys can see Veemon in all of its little glory over here. Veemon is one of my favorite Digimon. I know a lot of people are curious how to get Veemon right now, and that's how you do it. It's not that hard. And so basically you can just do a ton of grinding and scan as many Digimon to actually farm basically like rare candies or experience candies to get Veemon. But Veemon is a pretty cool mon. Has Veemon headbutt, V headbutt, kind of nice stuff. And let's go back into what we were talking about over here. So Veemon is the first one that we wanted to talk about getting. The second one we wanted to talk about getting was like Hawkmon. I don't think I can really get Hawkmon with the mons that I have currently in the demo, but what that would take is to de-digivolve my Modamon here. We would want to de-digivolve here, and then we would want to evolve into the little flower in training mode that then can evolve into Hawkmon. I think the last one that we talked about is going to be a little bit more complicated, and that would be Armadillomon at the very bottom. The mons on the very bottom are actually going to be very different from the I want to say, what is that? Like the Tokamon line under there. The only way to get those is actually starting with Patamon or Gomamon. And you actually have to de-digivolve your starter to do that. You want to de-digivolve your starter, and then from there you can pick into going into, you know, the Gomamon line or the Patamon line. And then from there, what is that? Tokamon can evolve into Armadillomon. So it would take a lot of grinding, but at the same time, it's not that complicated once you get a good understanding of how the mechanics work. I wonder if there's anything else that I really wanted to go over in this video, but like I said, I will be leaving a link to the Reddit thread that goes over all of this info if you want a much more detailed rundown. I think this is such a cool game. I cannot wait to make super fun content for it. I really hope this game eventually gets a Nintendo Switch 2 release, because I know I personally like playing Digimon on the go. I'm currently playing the Steam version, but one question I want to ask you guys before we get out of here is, what is your like best 3? What are your 3 favorite Digimon on this list that you're actually using in the demo? Like I said, I'm going to go through and play the demo a bunch more on stream, but I think the ones I'm really going to end with are probably going to be like Tentomon, Veemon, and then I'm thinking about maybe getting like Zubamon. I was thinking about it. I might also want to get like Guiomon. Guiomon evolves from the Koromon line, and like Guiomon's one of my absolute favorites, right? So I think I might want to go with some sort of combination like that, but I would love to hear the Digimon you guys are interested in training in this game. And if you guys have any questions about anything regarding Devolution or Digimon Time Stranger in general, please let me know in the comments. I'll do my very best to answer. Even if it's something I don't know, I can probably go look up the answer and give you guys the information you want. So hopefully you guys are just as excited about this game as I am, and yeah, I just want to say thank you guys so much for watching. Peace out. I'll see you guys next time.